Okay, thank you guys for watching this video. Those of you that are watching it, I appreciate it, and I know it'll help you on the quiz. I have no idea what time of day you're watching this. Maybe you are um, up at 2 a.m. and you're like, hey, I'll check on the math assignment, and you can check this off your list. Maybe it's 9 in the morning, like most people. Maybe it's 3:30 in the afternoon after you just got done playing in the snow. I don't know. But either way, here is the study guide answers that I promised you. I hope you like my background today. These are actually my kitchen table, and this is the placemats we have for our boys. So you're welcome for that. I'm going to jump right into this study guide, and hopefully this won't take you super long. I mean, you should have it done, so you're just checking your work, right? Okay, so basketball camp, Coach Wilson held a free throw shooting contest on the last day, awarding a prize to the person who missed the least amount of attempts. The grade level and free throws missed are in the table below. So this is the student grade level. This is how many they missed out of 20, right? So kind of makes sense, right? A first grader is probably not going to make very many, whereas an eighth grader should make, like, not miss many. In theory, I know free throws are more difficult than they appear. So the first thing says make a scatter plot of the data table. Well, I know that a player's grade level is by X. So I'm going to say down here grade level. And you can see that the increments are kind of started out for you, so you know where to. Oops, I totally forgot the number 6. What is going on? Okay, here we go. And then the free throws missed, I'm just going to say missed free throws, goes by 2s. So I'm going to fill in the rest of these. And then to make the scatter plot, remember I have to scatter my plots. So I have a first grader that missed 18. I have a second grader that missed 14. I have a third grader that only missed 9. I have another third grader that missed 11. I have a fourth grader that missed 11. I have a fifth grader that missed 11. I have a fifth grader that missed 9. I have a sixth grader that missed 9. And I have a sixth grader that missed 8. And I have an eighth grader that missed 5. Okay, so I've got my scatter plot made. Remember, eventually it's going to ask you to make a trend line. So let's go ahead and just make that because you know how this goes, right? So I'm going to, again, try to get my line as close to as many points as possible. Okay, so that looks pretty good. You want it to go the whole length of the graph. So I've got my trend line. Remember, it's not connect the dots. It's how close can I get to as many points as possible. So let's go on to the next page. It says describe the overall association. Okay, so as you can recall, it's going in a negative direction because in theory, someone should miss less and less over time, right? So that's a negative value. And the form is linear, right? We were able to create a trend line, so it's considered linear. We drew our line of best fit. Now I need my slope and my y-intercept. So I'm going to go back to my graph. Remember, I have to find 2 perfect intersection points. So this one looks pretty good. And it happens to be on a point, but that's not always the case. And this one looks pretty good. So my slope is -4, right? Because this is 2, 4, and +2. So my slope is going to be -4/2, and my y-intercept is right here at 19, right? So remember, your y-intercept is where does your trend line cross the y-axis. Let's put a y here and an x here just for reference. Okay, so my slope is -4/2, which we all know can be simplified to -2/1 or just plain old -2. And my y-intercept was 0, 19 for my trend line. Now I have to write the equation. So remember, the equation comes from my slope and my y-intercept. So I've got that y equals mx plus b. Okay. Now I will tell you on the quiz, this is not going to be a problem. Like, this won't be a step that you do in this process. There won't be any points for identifying the slope and identifying the y-intercept. So you have to know when it says write the equation of your line, you have to find your slope and you have to find your y-intercept, okay? There's not going to be that step reminding you what it means, so I really need you to understand that when it says write the equation, you got to come up with that, okay? Now it says interpret the slope and y-intercept of your line. What do they mean in reference to the situation or in relationship to the situation? So my slope, remember, is -2/1. Okay, so that means that I have missed 2 less free throws, right? Because that's my y information. So it's missed 2 less free throws for every grade level increase. And that's my x-axis title, right? So that means that every grade level they go up, they miss 2 less, which means they're getting closer to having more free throws. And then my y-intercept is 0.19, and that means that kids under first grade, because that 0 is kids that maybe are in kindergarten or preschool, would miss 19 free throws, right? Because they're little, they can barely get it to the basket. I've shown you guys videos of my child, like he can barely get it there. So it makes sense that they wouldn't get many baskets. I mean, 1 would be a miracle, right? So that's what that means. I know it's kind of a vague, abstract concept because, you know, talking about 0 being kids under first grade, but I think you guys can figure it out. All right, last page. Identify any players that could be outliers. All right, so if I go back to my graph and I say, are there any players that kind of stand out? Well, I'm going to talk about this 3rd grader that only missed 9. That seems pretty impressive. It's not a drastic outlier, but it's also like not going along with the trend. So I'm going to pick this one as my outlier. On the quiz, it'll be way more obvious, I promise. Okay, so I'm going to put the ordered pair, which would be 3, 9, and that stands for a 3rd grader that only missed 9 free throws. Right? That's pretty good little baller there. All right. In my equation, so use my equation from question 5. So I'm going to go back and look at question 5 and say, oh, there's my equation. Okay, that's what they're talking about. So in my equation from question 5, I'm going to refresh my memory. Y equals -2x plus 19. Predict the number of free throws missed by a student in 12th grade. All right, so I'm going to put, remember this is missed free throws, and this x is the grade level. So I'm going to put the 12 where the x is. So y equals -2 times 12 plus 19. Y equals -24 plus 19. Y equals -5. So that seems weird, right? You can't miss -5 free throws. So if I have to put this into the context of the solution of the situation, I would say a 12th grader wouldn't miss any. Now, I know what you guys are thinking, like, that's not realistic, Mrs. Marsh. Like, people are going to miss free throws. But in this situation, this is all we have to go off of, right? Happy for that person. Okay, so that would be my answer there. So I take the grade level, put it in, interpret it back in. Okay. What grade might a player be in if they only missed 7 free throws? So I'm going to go back to my graph, and I'm going to go up to where 7 free throws would be. And I'm going to go over to my line, and it's right between like 6th and 7th grade, right? This is where 7 free throws would be. So I'm going to say 6th or 7th grade is my answer. Now, remember, if your line actually goes exactly to one of those grade levels, you only have to put one of them, right? Your line, It's very, I mean, they should be close, but for our two trend lines to be identical, that's not realistic. So just go off of what you have, and you guys know I'll grade you fairly. Okay, last question. Describe the overall relationship of the data displayed by the scatter plot. Okay, so let's evaluate this. We have number of siblings versus grade. So this is your grade level, and this is how many siblings you have. So is there any connection? Do we see a trend where we could honestly make a prediction? Because that's really what you need to ask yourself. Like, can I make a prediction off of this? No, I cannot, right? There's really no rhyme or reason to your grade level, how old you are, and the number of siblings you have, right? Because we have a 9th grader that has 7 siblings, but we also have a 5th grader with 6. So we can't even really go by the theory, the older you are, the more siblings you might have. You just don't know, right? Because this person might have siblings that are older than them and younger than them. So that's how they can still have 6, where this person might be the oldest in their family and have 7, right? So let's go ahead and say no, there isn't a relationship between a grade level and number of siblings. Right? I can't make a prediction, so there's no connection. Okay, so that's your study guide. Hopefully you were checking your work as you were watching this. And as always, I'll give a couple minutes at the beginning of class. If you have any questions, we can look over something. You can email me today. I'm at home on Tuesday, the e-learning day. I'm going to be home, so email me questions. You guys know I have my email connected to my phone, so even if I happen to leave my house, I can still get back to you. Okay, I'm not going to go anywhere. Who am I kidding? It's like blizzard outside. So I hope you guys are all staying warm and safe, and maybe you can get outside and have some fun. All right, see you tomorrow.